Part 2. Gaining Momentum. Chapter 5. Confidence is a process. It's not what happens to you that determines how far you will go in life. It is how you handle what happens to you. Zig Ziglar. Confidence is not a thing. It is a process. You may still be thinking of confidence as something that you either have or do not have, but that's not the case. Calling something confidence is actually a misnomer. There is only such a thing as acting confident, or behaving in a confident way, or thinking confident thoughts. The same goes for any emotion, be it fear, sadness, depression, or anxiety. None of these are actual things. They are the result of processes, sequences of thought that you run in your mind. Up until now, you may not have been aware that you were doing this. But the vital point to realize is that you have complete control over these processes. You can decide which mental processes are useful and which are not, and if they are useless, you can stop, interrupt, and banish them. By changing your language, you change your life. As we saw in the introduction, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP, shows how language, both verbal and nonverbal, affects our minds. The language you use to describe what you are feeling impacts your feelings tremendously. It is your knowledge and awareness of these processes that gives you power over them. When somebody says he or she is depressed, what that person has done is built that notion into his or her very being. People can't be depressed all the time. If they were, they wouldn't call it depression. It'd just be their normal state of being. Instead, people who consider themselves depressed should be saying, I run a process through my mind that causes me to experience certain feelings that I have collectively labeled as depression. The same goes for anxiety. Releasing the past. Think about who you were in the past. Who cares if you were shy or if you weren't confident in the way you wanted to be? The past is behind you. There's nothing we can really do about it now. The best thing we can do is learn from it and behave differently in the future. To that end, I want you to forgive your former self for being shy and for not acting confident in the past. So often, people spend their valuable time and energy kicking themselves for the time and opportunities they lost as a consequence of being shy. So stop now, before you listen any further, and if you were unconfident or shy in the past, forgive yourself now. Release all those feelings of negativity and frustration or anything bad you might have against your shy former self, because that version of you is over. We're going to learn from the past, and we're going to move on. Get rid of negative emotions. Let's begin to blow out those negative emotions. A great place to interrupt and banish those useless thought processes is to consider the language you use to describe them. Let's say you feared public speaking. How would you describe this fear? If you say, I have a fear of speaking in public, you are, in a sense, taking ownership of something that is just a mental process. What if you were to describe what is really happening and say, when I think about speaking in public, I run a process in my mind that I have labeled as fear. How much does that change things for you? How much better do you feel knowing that what you previously described as a fear of public speaking is really just a process that you can reverse? Begin now to notice how you've been describing other negative emotions. Have you been saying things like, I always get nervous when I talk to strangers. Talking to customers makes me anxious. Or, I just feel depressed. Instead of saying, I feel sad, describe for yourself what is really going on. I choose to think in a certain way that results in my feeling sad when I encounter a certain set of circumstances. It may sound a bit hokey at first, But as you continue to think about it and really dig into the meaning of that sentence, you will begin to gain a sense of how truly liberating this is. Add positive emotions. Now, after taking control of these processes, insert a positive emotion in place of the negative one. I have absolute confidence in public speaking. Try that out. The negative processes do not serve you. If you catch yourself running one of these negative processes, interrupt it. Inside your mind, yell, "Stop!" Make it a habit to stop the negative processes and automatically start the resourceful one. As you go through your day, become aware of what you are seeing, hearing, and thinking inside yourself and realize that you have control. Change your physiology to reflect a confident state. Change your internal voice to suit you. Congratulate yourself when you stop the negative processes and praise yourself when you start a confident process, because you get more of what you reinforce. Praising yourself gives you incentive to run the resourceful process. Naturally, you'll then be more likely to do it again in the future. After all, you should treat yourself well. Some people have negative internal voices nagging at them all day. How awful would it be to live like that? Remember, the only person with whom you spend all your time is yourself. You might as well have great rapport with yourself. Also, don't forget to congratulate yourself whenever you step outside your comfort zone. Celebrate those successes and reward yourself accordingly. Consider the example of Janet, a rookie salesperson. Janet finds herself saying, "Talking to customers is scary. They frighten me, and I feel fear when I go ask them to purchase my product. I just don't know what to do." What is occurring here is that Janet has given up her personal power by using disempowering language. If we were to reword her language in a way that would allow her to easily change her perception of the situation, the translation would be, "According to me, right now, talking to customers causes me to experience a certain emotion that I describe as scary. I choose to allow customers to frighten me, and I feel something that I label as fear when I ask them to purchase my product. I don't know what to do yet." Here is what Janet can do to immediately gain control over her emotions. Append, "according to me at this time," onto every one of her sentences. This forces her to acknowledge that what she is describing is not absolute truth and not etched in stone for all time. Whenever there is an unwanted emotion like fear, guilt, or anxiety, she must describe the emotion with the following phrase: "I choose to experience a certain emotion by doing something inside my mind that causes me to experience a set of pictures, sounds, and feelings that I collectively have labeled emotion." This requires Janet to take the fixed emotion and turn it back into a process. It also demonstrates that she is the one in control of the process. When she catches herself using that disempowered language, after she restates it using the guidelines above, she must empower herself by using sentences that state how she will behave in the future. An example is, "Although I've done that in the past, I wonder how quickly I will find myself becoming more relaxed and confident when I go to ask the customers to purchase my product." As you go through this example and see how it's done, you will realize you can do it too. Unwanted Emotions Exercise. It's now time for you to think of 5 unwanted emotions and a context in which you experience those emotions. While you do that, become cognizant of the language you are using to describe what you really do to experience those unwanted emotions, and think of emotions that would best fit in their place after you rid yourself of the unwanted ones. Following that, do the exercise of changing your current language and adding in more empowered language. Remember that when you change your language, you change your life. Throughout the rest of this book, you'll be learning many more effective and simple ways to use language, and many more mental processes that will give you unstoppable confidence. Chapter 6. Your Beliefs and How They Affect You. If you develop the absolute sense of certainty that powerful beliefs provide, then you can get yourself to accomplish virtually anything, including those things that other people are certain are impossible. Anthony Robbins. The next step is to take a close, hard look at our beliefs to find out what they really are and what we really want out of life. Your current beliefs realized. Pause for a moment and consider everything around you. Everything that you have and everything that you lack stems directly from a belief of yours. Similarly, all of the experiences you've had and all of those experiences yet to be had are because of your beliefs. Beliefs are pervasive throughout all areas of our lives. They influence what we do and how we do it to an extraordinary degree. Your quality of life depends on the quality of your beliefs. The more useful and empowering the beliefs you hold, the more success you will attract. Understanding why we have beliefs, and more importantly, how we can consciously change them, is one of the key precepts of NLP. Beliefs are very influential in our lives. They have the ability to spur us into action and fulfill our dreams, or to keep us stuck in a mediocre situation. The difference that makes the difference is the quality of your beliefs. By observing a person's actions, you can deduce what beliefs he or she holds dear. If someone has a successful and happy relationship, you can deduce that he or she believes strongly in commitment to his or her partner. If someone has well-adjusted children, you can deduce that the parents believe in taking pride in being good parents. If someone is fit and muscular, you might guess that this person has a firm belief in health and fitness. How beliefs are formed. As we go through our lives, each of us gains a different set of experiences and learns to derive meaning from them. These lessons go a long way toward forming our beliefs. We acquire beliefs not only through our own experiences, though, but also through learning from the authority figures in our lives. These people have a way of passing on their beliefs to us. Usually, when we're young children, the authority figures are our parents and school teachers. During this period, we do not consciously filter out what we don't want to believe or try to determine whether a belief is empowering to us. Since they are authority figures, we simply adopt their beliefs as if they were incontestable facts. This is useful, since there is so much for children to learn, yet sometimes those same well-meaning authority figures pass on less than beneficial beliefs. As adults, however, we should realize that there is a better way, which is to adopt beliefs based on their utility to us. Ask yourself whether a particular belief serves you. If so, keep it. If the belief keeps you stuck in a station of your life that you've outgrown, get rid of it and replace it with a more empowering belief. You can learn something from each and every person you encounter, whether it's something positive that you want to incorporate into your own life or something negative that you want to avoid. When you find that someone has empowering beliefs in a certain area, you can adopt those beliefs yourself. Similarly, if someone tries to pass a limiting belief onto you, be sure to filter it out. Consistently remain aware of your beliefs about certain things in different contexts. For example, you can wear a rubber band around your wrist and snap it every time you catch yourself uttering something less than empowering. This will cause your mind to associate that belief with pain, and since the mind wants to avoid pain at all costs, eventually it will eliminate that belief. Make it a habit to eliminate the beliefs that you notice tend to be useless or that hold you back. Make it a habit to believe even more strongly in the empowering ones. Sometimes people mislabel their feelings and create faulty beliefs. For example, if someone gets excited before making a sales pitch and mistakenly labels the feeling as fear, this person may create a belief that selling is always going to be scary. The next time he goes out to sell, it will be even harder for him to perform at his optimum level since he believes he is about to get scared. That's a belief that should clearly be lost. Pay close attention to how you label your emotions, because that will determine whether you create useful beliefs or useless ones. The structure of beliefs. Beliefs are structured in one of two ways: meaning or causality. When you hear either meaning or causality language, explained later, you will know someone is sharing his or her beliefs with you. I personally find it useful to listen for signs of other people's beliefs in case they have a more empowering belief than one I currently hold. If they do, I know that I can replace my belief with theirs. Using the same idea, if I notice that they hold beliefs that I find less than useful to myself, I simply respect their beliefs and avoid adopting them as my own. Meaning beliefs reveal what someone considers the definitive explanation of a given subject. Causality beliefs reveal what someone considers the definitive correlation between two subjects. Whenever you hear one of the following words, someone is exposing one of his or her beliefs. Means, is, causes, because. When you hear someone else's beliefs, it is important to realize that they are not necessarily true. Sometimes people forget that fact and accidentally take on less than empowering beliefs as their own. This is especially true for people listening to authority figures. They may forget to question what purpose is served by the beliefs the authority figure is trying to promote. The qualities of beliefs. Beliefs have certain qualities that allow them to be encoded as beliefs in your mind. Each belief has certain visual, auditory, and emotional qualities associated with it. By altering any of these qualities, we alter the belief. By consciously directing our minds, we can deliberately manipulate these qualities in order to keep only the most empowering beliefs. Visual qualities of experiences. Movie stars are often adored to the point that they are mobbed by fans and depicted as larger than life. The reason for this is because they are literally presented to audiences as larger than life on huge movie screens and theaters. In the same way, if you think about certain things as though you were viewing them on a mental movie screen, these things will seem quite compelling. If you have something positive that you want to experience more vividly, you can enlarge whatever you are visualizing, make it movie screen size in your mind, and notice how that feeling becomes more intense. You can make that belief even more intense by making it brighter in your mind and picturing it being closer. It's just like switching seats to move to the front row in a movie theater. When you visualize a belief or a memory as very bright and close, you will experience the feeling as much more intense. The reverse is also true. If you want to make something less powerful, you can visualize it as being small, dark, and far away. To lessen the intensity even further, you can make the picture of what you're thinking about grainy and black and white, as though you were viewing it on an ancient television screen. High-definition, colorful movies are more compelling, and they inspire people in ways that black and white movies cannot. Remember, make all that is positive in your life big, bright, close, and colorful, and push away all that is negative in your life until it's small, dark, far away, and in black and white. People often encode their experiences to make the negative ones big and glaringly bright, while their positive experiences are small and much less vivid. Doing so will give those people more negative dispositions because the negative images are so compelling in their minds. Deliberately taking charge of your mind means encoding your experiences and beliefs in the most useful way. Auditory qualities of experiences. Just as the visual qualities of experiences and beliefs affect their intensity, so too do the auditory qualities. Going back to my movie theater analogy, people have a more intense experience when the sound is loud, engulfing them, and stereo surround that is crystal clear and bass that reverberates within their bodies. Contrast this idea with a movie theater that has low volume and mono sound that's constantly interrupted by popping static. The latter kind of sound is much less compelling than the former, and consequently there is much less feeling associated with it. Listening to a movie in a theater with weak sound is a completely different experience from going to a theater that has powerful sound. We can deliberately alter our experiences and the power of our beliefs by altering the sound qualities associated with them. By turning the volume up or down and changing the location or pitch of the sound, we can experience feelings differently. Emotional qualities of experiences. By altering the visual and auditory qualities of our beliefs and experiences, we change the feelings associated with them. If you want excellent feelings, you need to see and hear excellent sights and sounds. Now that you understand how to deliberately change your memories, experiences, and beliefs, you can practice making your positive memories even better, your negative memories more neutral, and very powerfully lock in your most empowering beliefs. How to change your beliefs for good using NLP. Now we're going to take what we've learned about beliefs in order to change them, perhaps faster and more effectively than you ever dreamed possible. Bust the shy gene. In earlier chapters, we saw that there really is no such thing as being shy or having a shy gene. So, the first belief that we will change is the belief that you are shy. You are going to take any old thoughts or self-images you may have had about being shy and replace them with thoughts and images of being confident and moving through the world in a whole new way. Don't confine yourself to using this technique for just one belief. You can use it for any beliefs that have been holding you back. Use this method to change whatever beliefs you find less than glorious or less than resourceful. Listen through the instructions a few times to familiarize yourself with what you are about to do. You may also want to get a partner to help guide you through it, someone who is supportive of your transformation, perhaps someone who is on a similar transformational journey. Your partner can read these instructions out to you, or you can simply take note of the instructions and then close your eyes and do it then. You have certain mental pictures, sounds, and feelings that are associated with beliefs. What we are going to do is change the structure of the belief and thereby change the belief itself. By altering the structure of the belief, we alter how your mind encodes it. The mind encodes powerfully held beliefs differently from weakly held beliefs. First, we will find out how you doubt something, the way in which you encode doubting beliefs in your mind. Then, we'll bring you back to your normal, neutral state of being. Third, we'll discover the way in which strong beliefs are encoded in your mind. We'll again bring you back to your normal, neutral state of being. Finally, we will bring about a change in your beliefs. We will take your limiting belief and turn it into a doubt. By doubting your limiting belief, you will free yourself from it. We will then take a new and more empowering belief and lock it into your mind to be held strongly. Step 1. Discover how you doubt. The first thing to do is close your eyes and think of something that you used to believe in that you no longer do. For example, you might think about how as a child you believed in Santa Claus, which hopefully you no longer do. As you recall that belief, become aware of everything you see that is associated with the belief. More importantly, since we are paying attention to the structure of the belief, Look at the different visual qualities of the belief and make note of them. Regarding what you see and your belief that is no longer true but used to be, answer these questions. Is it flat or three-dimensional? What size is it? Is it clear or out of focus? How bright is it? With your eyes still closed, tune in to the sounds that are associated with this belief of yours that is no longer true. Listen closely and pay particular attention to the sound qualities as you answer the following questions. Do you hear a voice of doubt? Do you hear a voice of authority? Do you hear other sounds? How loud are the sounds you hear? Step 2. Break state. Open your eyes, take a deep breath, and name 3 different things in the room. This will help you shift from a state of doubt back to your neutral state. You might even want to physically move around a little if it helps you return to your neutral, normal state. Step 3. Discover how you believe. Think of something that is absolutely true. Pick out something that you have no question about and believe 100% to be true. Choose something simple like, the sun will rise tomorrow, or I need to breathe air to live. We are going to elicit the same visual and auditory qualities in this powerful belief that we just elicited for the doubting belief. Just as you did before, when you think about this absolutely true belief, become aware of everything you mentally associate with it. Remember, since we are paying attention to the structure of the belief, look at the different visual qualities of the belief and make note of them. Regarding what you see and your strongly held belief, answer these questions. Is it flat or three-dimensional? What size is it? Is it clear or out of focus? How bright is it? With your eyes still closed, tune into the sounds that are associated with this belief that is absolutely certain. Listen closely and pay particular attention to the sound qualities as you answer the following questions. Do you hear a voice of doubt? Do you hear a voice of authority? Do you hear other sounds? How loud are the sounds you hear? Step 4. Break state. When you're done making note of all the qualities of what you see and hear, open your eyes, take a deep breath, and name 3 different things in the room. This will help you shift back to your neutral state. You may want to physically move around a little if it helps you return to your neutral, normal state. Step 5. Change the belief. Think of a limiting belief of yours. Since this is a book about confidence, think of one that relates to your confidence or shyness. A good example is, I can't go up and meet strangers easily. This is a belief that limits many people whose social and business lives would improve if they rid themselves of it. Once you've selected your limiting belief regarding confidence or shyness, close your eyes and notice all the visual and auditory qualities of that belief. This is just what you've done in steps 1 and 3. After you've gotten the visual and auditory qualities of that belief, begin to change each and every visual and auditory quality of your limiting belief to match all of the visual and auditory qualities of something that you used to believe but no longer do, an old belief. This process recodes your limiting belief, transforming it into something you no longer believe. Make sure that the visual and auditory qualities of the limiting belief match those of the old belief as precisely as possible. When you're done transforming that belief, open your eyes, take a deep breath, and reorient yourself back into your neutral, normal state of being. Congratulations on removing a limiting belief. Since nature abhors a vacuum, we will place an empowering belief in your mind where this limiting belief used to reside. To do this, think about something with respect to your confidence that, when you believe it, will improve your life. Now, as you close your eyes, think of what you want to fully believe in. As you become aware of the visual and auditory qualities of that belief, begin to change its each and every quality to match precisely the visual and auditory qualities of one of your strongest, absolutely true beliefs. When this process is complete, you will think of this new, empowering belief in the same way that you thought of your other, absolutely true, strongly held belief in step 3. Ensure that the visual and auditory qualities of this new, absolutely true belief and your previous true beliefs match up as much as possible. Belief change pattern. 1. Close your eyes. 2. Think about something that you used to believe was true but no longer do. 3. Notice all the visual qualities of that belief. 4. Notice all the auditory qualities of that belief. 5. Notice all the emotional qualities of that belief. 6. Open your eyes and name 3 different things in the room to clear your mind. 7. Close your eyes. 8. Think about a limiting belief you have, such as, I'm shy, or I'm not yet confident. 9. Notice all the visual qualities of that belief. 10. Notice all the auditory qualities of that belief. 11. Notice all the emotional qualities of that belief. 12. Open your eyes and name 3 different things in the room to clear your mind. 13. Adjust your limiting belief to resemble something you used to consider true but no longer do. I encourage you to practice changing your beliefs and experiences. You'll be surprised at how easy and effective it is. Use expectancy to your advantage. What you expect tends to be realized more often than you might think. Resourceful people have different beliefs from those who are not resourceful. Resourceful people expect to be able to find a way to achieve their outcome. They expect to be able to easily and naturally form a rapport with anyone they meet. When they want something to happen, they often go for it. And if they make a mistake, they learn from the feedback. These expectations tend to influence a resourceful person's outcome. Believing the following ideas will increase your interpersonal skills and personal effectiveness. When you meet people and you want to create a rapport, remember these beliefs. People automatically like you because you are a good person. You can easily and naturally meet anyone you choose. You can have instant rapport with anyone you choose using these techniques. You have a lot in common with any person you meet. You can learn something from each and every person you speak with. You may be thinking that these beliefs are not necessarily true, and if so, you would be correct. However, we're out to get a result, not to logically prove what is and isn't true. The previous beliefs are useful generalizations that will help you when you believe them. In all interpersonal relations, assume that you can get and maintain a rapport. Operate under the belief that you have far more in common with the person than not, and you will easily connect with him or her. Diffuse limiting beliefs with the power of questions. The following method uses questions that are designed to break up limiting beliefs. These questions help you reconnect with your confidence resources. Remember that you have confidence within you at all times. You have successfully been confident in the past. The key is to summon the necessary confidence whenever you choose. If you're hesitating or behaving tentatively, ask yourself, what's stopping me from doing what I want? Once you have the answer to this question, you can transform your frame of mind, your internal dialogue, and your physiology into a state of confidence. If, in fact, you do find yourself acting shy, never beat yourself up over it. Remember that there is a positive intention behind every behavior. That means that the way you were acting served a purpose that ultimately did some good in the past. Figure out what the positive intention of your shy behavior is by asking yourself, what is the positive intention of this tentative feeling? Be silent and allow the genuine answer to pop into your mind. When you get an answer, take note of it, and then remind yourself that shyness is an outdated way of behaving, and that you will choose confidence from here onward. Be good to yourself at all times. Never ask yourself a question like, why am I shy? Asking questions like that will only keep you stuck because your unconscious mind will come back to you with answers about why you are shy, thus reinforcing the shyness even further. That's the last thing you want. You want to ask questions that reconnect you to your resources of confidence. Ask yourself, what would it be like if I were feeling unstoppably confident right now? How would you feel different? How would you look out at the world as a supremely confident person? By merely answering those empowering questions, you'll be forced to access a state of confidence, thereby meeting your desired outcome. Chapter 7. Unstoppable Confidence in Personal Relationships. Do unto others as they would like to have done unto them. The Platinum Rule. Interpersonal skills are fundamental to gaining unstoppable confidence. Simply knowing these interpersonal skills will dramatically increase your confidence. Because you know how people function, you will naturally be able to relate to anyone and everyone easily by the time you finish this book. 3 universal characteristics of friendship. Stop for just a moment and think about your best friend. You can probably picture that person clearly in your mind. As you hold on to that image, I want you to notice what it is specifically that you like about this person. Chances are the qualities that you like about your best friend are related to the following 3 universal characteristics that make people like one another. All friendships are based on similarity, cooperation, praise. Similarity. People like people whom they perceive as being similar to themselves. You and your best friend have things in common. These things may include attitudes, beliefs, hobbies, goals, and dreams. More likely than not, you like to do the same things. Furthermore, you and your best friend probably have similar dislikes as well. The similarity principle can be used to enhance our interpersonal relations and increase our own personal confidence. There is a distinction between true similarity and perceived similarity. True similarity is actually having something in common with someone, while perceived similarity is matching someone's behaviors, for example, mirroring, so that his or her subconscious mind perceives you as similar. Both kinds of similarity can help you improve your interpersonal relations. See Part 4 for an exercise using perceived similarity. Cooperation. The next ingredient that ensures people will like each other is cooperation. It is an absolute necessity. Without cooperation, there can be no basis for friendship. People who cooperate with you, participate in activities with you, and generally agree with you are undoubtedly more likable to you than people who do not. If someone you consider your friend decides to stop returning your phone calls, starts canceling appointments on you, or is generally uncooperative, it would obviously be difficult to maintain the friendship, no matter how similar you are to the person. Praise. Praise is the third factor in making one person like another. The importance of praise is obvious. People like being praised, complimented, and recognized for their achievements. At work, employees often become disgruntled not because they are not compensated well monetarily, but instead because their hard work goes unrecognized. Just as praise unites people in harmony, put-downs and insults divide people. It is much harder to like someone who puts you down than someone who consistently praises you. If your best friend did nothing but insult you, it would quickly dissolve that friendship. Perceiving others. How you perceive people will influence how they perceive you. If you love people and enjoy their company, that belief will impact your life tremendously. On the flip side, if you dislike people and generally disdain their company, that belief will affect you in just the same way. The better you can get along with people, the higher quality the life you will lead. Intention. Let's discuss the concept of intention. Intention is the subtext of the interaction between people. If you intend to connect with someone before beginning to talk with him or her, you will project that intent, and that person will unconsciously pick up on it, responding to you more positively than he or she might have otherwise. People want acceptance. They want to relax and be themselves, free of any judgment. When you set someone else's comfort as one of your outcomes, that person will find himself or herself automatically more comfortable in your presence. The person may not know why he or she feels relaxed around you, but he or she will feel it. A positive frame of mind. Do the following as an experiment to reveal the influence of your frame of mind. For a week, make yourself believe that all people are unfriendly and don't like to meet new people. Imagine that they don't want to be bothered at all. After temporarily adopting this frame of mind, go out each day or night that week and try to strike up conversations with strangers. It will be difficult because of your frame of mind. What the thinker thinks, the prover proves. Having those preconceived negative beliefs becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once the week is over, purge yourself of that toxic frame of mind. The following week, adopt the belief that people are perfectly friendly and they love meeting new dynamic people such as yourself. Furthermore, recognize that you like to get to know new people, since you can learn something new from each and every person you meet. You accept people for who they are, allow them to be themselves, and are free from judging them. After permanently adopting this frame of mind, go out each day or night for the week and notice how easily and naturally you converse with strangers. One of the many benefits of having confidence is how other people are put at ease when interacting with the confident you. If someone is uptight and ill at ease, other people can sense it, and they may act correspondingly uptight. However, when someone is genuinely comfortable in being himself or herself, others sense it and consequently let their guard down. While you do these experiments and see for yourself how influential a positive frame of mind is, remember to have fun. Just go and experiment, play, and practice your new skills. Adjust your behavior continually based on the feedback you receive, and eventually, you'll find yourself just where you want to be when meeting new people. Pitfalls to avoid. There are several pitfalls to avoid as you develop unstoppably confident interpersonal relationships. Overcome intimidation. One thing that you may encounter on your journey to connect and click with other people is the feeling of intimidation. Many things can cause a person to feel intimidated, including the beauty, fame, fortune, and social status of others. People possessing these qualities can seem intimidating. It is important to remember, though, that feeling intimidated, like shyness, fear, anxiety, and every other emotion, is the result of a mental process. Remember who's in control. You are. If you ever find yourself feeling intimidated while dealing with someone, recognize the feeling as soon as you feel it. By becoming aware of it and identifying it, you can do something about it. Take a few steps back and look at the big picture. You are two people talking or interacting in some fashion. It's really not such a big deal. The other person is simply a person in the same way that you are simply a person. When you strip away everything else, whoever it is that intimidates you puts their pants on the same way you and I do. Remembering this will eliminate intimidation and help you build unstoppable confidence within you. In terms of dating, some people will always think that the object of their affection is way out of their league. This is utter and complete nonsense. People are people. No one is below or above anyone else. Beautiful people who might intimidate others are simply human beings with beliefs, desires, values, hopes, dreams, fears, and goals like anyone else. When you think about it that way, doesn't it make it that much easier to interact with people? As you apply these ideas in your life, I think you'll find that it does. If I ever feel intimidated by someone, it's because I'm focusing on the wrong attribute. All of us have extraordinary gifts. If others focused solely on our gifts, they might become overwhelmed and thus intimidated. We're all human beings, and we have much, much more in common than we have differences. If I feel intimidated, it's because I'm not only dwelling on someone's extraordinary gift, but I'm also blowing that person way out of proportion. I'm totally exaggerating and making the person seem larger than life. A useful belief in dealing with someone who has the potential to intimidate you is to realize that you have at least something in common with every person you meet. People have much more in common with others than they realize. Most people want to be happy, prosperous, take care of their families, enjoy their lives, and have the freedom to pursue what they want. When you keep these beliefs in your mind as you talk to a person, you will discover the connection between the two of you deepening as a result of your projecting that similarity to the other person. Beware of mind reading. The second pitfall is mind reading. Mind reading occurs when you pretend to understand someone's internal state without actually communicating with that person. People mind read often, and it is almost always to their detriment. Sometimes people will mind read about what others think of them. I know I've done this from time to time. You may have too. What someone thinks in his or her mind could be completely different from what you might be mind reading off the person. If a friend fails to call you back or a customer does not get back to you immediately, he or she might not be interested in you or your project. Or he or she might have just accidentally forgotten. There are many different potential causes for everything, and the only way to verifiably know is to ask someone. For the next week, practice becoming aware of whether you are mind reading. If you automatically presume to know someone else's private thoughts, stop and ask yourself, how do I know? Have I asked this person, or has this person communicated this to me? Are there other possibilities for why the person is doing a certain behavior? When you are aware that you are mind reading, stop at once. Fortunately, we can mind read in a positive way too. I know that I just told you that mind reading is something less than useful and does not lead to good communication with everyone running around pretending to read one another's thoughts. However, when you mind read positively, it can be very useful. When I was overcoming my shyness, I had difficulty meeting strangers, and in particular, women. I used to mind read and say, "She won't like me. She wants to be left alone." This led me to be shy, fear rejection, and become incapacitated by my shyness. And then I decided I'd had enough of mind reading negatively. From this point on, I would avoid mind reading, or if I was going to mind read, I would do it positively. I figure if you're going to mind read, you might as well do it positively. And when I began doing this, my confidence immediately swelled up. I would mind read people whom I wanted to meet, telling myself these were their thoughts. I hope he, as in me, comes over and talks to me. I sure would like to meet a nice, friendly, easygoing guy right about now. How nice would it be for him to come over? When I thought like this, it more often than not helped me to approach people and meet them. If you're going to use mind reading at all, use it to your benefit. Respond resourcefully to criticism. Now that we've learned to stop assuming people are speaking ill of us, we will learn how to respond resourcefully to criticisms that others have actually made to or about us. This is a very useful tool in improving our interpersonal relationships. If someone is stepping off the beaten path and pursuing his or her passions, there will be criticism. It doesn't matter whether the person criticizing you deliberately wants to hold you back or not. The effect of the criticism can be the same either way, if you do not respond to it resourcefully. Usually, criticism of someone going after his or her dreams signifies an element of jealousy or ignorance on the part of the critic. Otherwise, the critical person would be supportive and cheer you on. Recognize before you go after your dreams that you're putting yourself out there to potentially be criticized. Avoid letting that stop you. Instead, just understand that it might happen whether it is warranted or not. 2 resourceful responses to criticism are first, ignoring it altogether, and second, mining the criticism for valuable feedback. Make a distinction between the kinds of criticism you receive to determine which response you should utilize. The worst kind of criticism will be from people who are trying to tear you down in order to feel better about themselves. The other kind of criticism comes from people who mean well and do in fact have good intentions in wanting you to improve. Remember that people treat you how you've taught them to treat you. For people giving you destructive criticism, inform them that they need to correct their behavior. In order to respond resourcefully to criticism, there must be some distance between you and the criticism so that you have time to digest it. As you listen to criticism, imagine that you are surrounded by a thick glass barrier that absorbs any negativity or negative emotions from the criticism so that only the useful, positive content of the message seeps through. Other people may see and hear things differently from you, and therefore have good suggestions for you on how to improve, which is why you need to be able to receive positive, constructive criticism. Teach people how to give you good feedback. Good feedback comes in the form of a sandwich. The structure is praise for something done well, suggestions for improvement, and more praise for other things done well. When people use the feedback sandwich, the person receiving the feedback feels good while still getting useful ideas on how to improve. When giving constructive criticism, remember that the more specific the suggestion for improvement is, the more useful the suggestions will be. The constructive criticism should center on how you can improve next time, instead of dwelling on what you did not do so well this time around. Give others feedback this way and expect the same from them. You'll be far more effective than you imagined. Show confidence in interactions. The following ideas will get you started in demonstrating unstoppable confidence in your interactions with others. More techniques for creating better personal relationships are found in Part 4. The Platinum Rule. In dealing with people, many have heard of the Golden Rule, but how about the Platinum Rule? The Golden Rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The Platinum Rule. Do unto others as they would like to have done unto them. When you think about it, the Platinum Rule obviously makes more sense. If someone feels down and you recognize it, you can proactively make that person feel wonderful. The magic of touch. People who are well-liked and confident put others at ease in their presence. One method they use to put others at ease and convey a warm feeling is the power of touch. People crave connection with other people. Touching and being touched by others, if applied correctly, can be one powerful way to make a connection. Whether it's a handshake, a congratulatory pat on the back, or a warm hug, people often respond to touch. An example that demonstrates the power of touch is a study that was conducted with waitresses. The researchers set out to determine how touch would influence the tips the waitresses earned. The first group of waitresses touched each customer while he or she was ordering items off the menu. The second group acted just as friendly, only they didn't touch the customers at all. The researchers found that the waitresses who touched their customers earned tips that were 50% higher than those of the waitresses who did not touch. What this shows is that the customers perceived the waitresses who touched them as more likable and open. Finally, though, a word of warning. You should apply touch judiciously and appropriately, never in a way that could be misconstrued as sexual or inappropriate. As with all things, use your common sense. Chapter 8. Overcoming Obstacles in the Path to Success. In every adversity, there is a seed of equal or greater benefit. Napoleon Hill. All the happiest, most fulfilled, most successful people realize that success is a process. It's the journey of who we become, not simply the end result, that makes it all worthwhile. The achievement of the goal is sweet, but as with any goal worth achieving, there will likely be setbacks along the way. Viewing those setbacks in the right light can make the difference in your ultimate success. No such thing as failure. Thomas Edison did more than 10,000 experiments before he perfected the incandescent light bulb. Colonel Sanders, the founder of the chicken franchise KFC, got 1,009 rejections before someone bought his chicken recipe. When Sylvester Stallone of Rambo fame showed up in Hollywood, he went through more than 100 auditions before someone cast him in a small role. What all of these people had in common was that they realized there is no such thing as failure. There are only results. After you've been knocked down, the only thing that matters is that you get back up. As Thomas Edison was developing the light bulb, a newspaper reporter came to interview him about his experiments that had failed. The newspaper reporter inquired as to when the inventor would give up after failing so many times, to which Edison retorted, "Never." The pressing newspaper reporter insisted, "But you keep failing over and over." Edison swiftly responded, "No, what you don't understand is that I haven't failed. I've just found over 10,000 ways not to invent the light bulb." This is very true, since he learned from each previous experiment and made corrections based on his findings. Masters become masters because they make more mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more distinctions, small pieces of information you learn by doing, you'll get. The more distinctions you have, the more easily you will reach your outcome. Think about that as it applies to your confidence and going after your dreams. Masters are excellent at the fundamentals. They go back and ensure they have gotten the basics down. If at first you're not successful, be thankful. Some of the least successful people out there had early successes and decided that there was no room for improvement. Therefore, they became complacent and stagnated. Compare this to people who fail royally the first few times. These late bloomers have to develop skills to adjust their behavior based on feedback. They tend to develop habits that lead them toward continual improvement. As they develop these habits and begin to succeed, they eventually surpass the early bloomers in productivity. The 4 major causes of blunted progress. People stop short of achieving success for many different reasons. Being aware of what stops other people can help you to prevent yourself from sputtering out and lets you continue on the road toward living your dreams. A lot of the reasons that prevent people from living their dreams are actually excuses. What I challenge you to do is to systematically go through your life and kick out all of the excuse crutches that you may have been leaning on. Blow out the crutches permanently so that there can be no choice but success. This is one of the rare times when reducing your options will ultimately gain you more options in the future. Excuses are false options that will only hinder your progress, and since progress is vital to success, you mustn't let anything stand in your way. The 4 major causes of blunted progress are: 1. Fear of change. 2. Fear of the unknown. 3. Fear of success. 4. Fear of failure. Fear of change. People are creatures of habit. A lot of us do the same things over and over again as if every day were a rerun. This can be good in some contexts. Habits simplify our lives. We don't have to consciously think about how to drive a car, open a door, or use a computer every time we do so. On the flip side, habits can become detrimental to our well-being. If we act too much out of habit, we can become automatons and forget to make conscious choices about what we really want to do. Becoming confident is a breach of habit that people may fear, since it involves an entirely new set of behaviors, attitudes, and values that differ from being shy. It is useful to believe that change is fun and easy. A change for the better leads to personal growth, and personal growth lets you know that you're really alive. It shows you that you are not stagnating. Sometimes at the start of a big change, it may be painful or seem to have negative effects. Always look on the bright side. Think long-term. Dwell on how the difficulty you experience in making the change can only help you down the line. Pretty soon, you'll discover yourself doing these same difficult things automatically. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown is quite common, even though it makes little sense to me. Life inherently has many unknowns. You never know just what might happen. If you did know what to expect all the time, your life would be completely drained of spontaneity, and you would never have any enjoyment that wasn't mapped out beforehand. Is it worth wasting your valuable time and energy contemplating the unknown when you can just take it as it comes with an optimistic attitude? Of course, it's only natural to make provisions that ensure the worst-case scenario in each situation does not happen. Although, if the worst-case scenario should happen, you can always minimize the damages afterward. This is a fundamental shifting in your mindset here. It's the difference between taking action to prevent or minimize the worst-case scenario and not taking action because you're worried that something bad might happen. It's important to avoid spending time worrying and fearing the unknown. Instead, take action and increase your peace of mind. Think of life as an adventure or a game where you make up your own rules to play by. If you moved through life with a frame of mind like that, how much more exciting and fun would your life be? Fear of success. Some people subconsciously fear success. Their fear paralyzes them, preventing them from taking any positive action. Successful people find ways to overcome this fear, and that's one of the reasons why they are successful. There is a myth that if you become successful, you have to move to a different neighborhood and lose all of your friends, and the world as you know it will end. If you subscribe to this theory, you are deluding yourself. Success comes in many forms: marital, spiritual, physical, mental, financial, and so on. And it is wonderful. Success is continually rewarding, and all people should know what it's like to be successful in their own right. Sometimes people shun success because they think it will impose a higher standard on them and consequently put more pressure on them to perform consistently at a higher level. It's true that a higher standard is set, But who says you can't meet expectations once you've raised the bar? You should always expect excellence out of yourself. You deserve to perform at a high level, no matter what the context. If you merely continue to perform adequately, then you are just trying not to lose. But if you continue to perform with excellence, then you are in it to win. Avoid playing the trying not to lose game. Always opt for the play to win game instead. Fear of failure. Fear of failure stops many people from going after what they want. Some people tend to dwell on what might happen if they fail. They focus their thoughts on what will happen if nothing goes right. When they do that, they picture all sorts of negative hypothetical situations and eventually talk themselves out of doing something that could have been wonderful. When people venture outside their comfort zones, they need to focus on the potential benefits and remember why it's important to go after them. After all, there is no such thing as failure. There are only results. Some results are better than others. If you get the results you don't like, you'll naturally adjust your behavior based on the results to persist until you achieve your outcome. To get past the fear of failure, answer the following questions. If you knew you couldn't fail at something, what would you do? What would you achieve? How would your life be different than it is now? First, you must conceive it. Then, you must believe it. And finally, you will achieve it. Your initial answers to these questions are the outcomes you should pursue. Go for it and make them a reality. Remember that mistakes are a great way to learn. We all make mistakes sometimes. The more we make them, the better off we are, since that means we'll be learning faster than if we weren't making any mistakes at all. As long as you avoid making catastrophic mistakes, the little ones you make can be your best teachers for how to do something the right way. Even if you did nothing and tried your hardest not to make a mistake, mistakes would be impossible to avoid, since doing nothing in and of itself would be a mistake. You are bound to make mistakes once in a while, so let's make the most of them. One motto I go by is, fail forward fast. Keep on making the mistakes and learn from them. Adjust and move on, then repeat the cycle. Without making mistakes, there is no personal growth. Without personal growth, there is stagnation. Be confident about mistakes. Be confident about your mistakes. They are simply ways in which we learn. This is the success and confidence secret of go-getters all around the world. After each success that they experience, they integrate that success into their identity as further evidence that they are unstoppable. And after each mistake, they think of it simply as a byproduct of their behavior and a learning opportunity. The mistake doesn't cast any doubt on who they are as people. Many people have their strategies flip-flopped. Instead of integrating their successes as part of who they are, they dismiss them. That is all wrong. Dismiss the mistakes as flukes, but not your successes. People downplay their successes with such phrases as, "Oh, I just got lucky," or "It was bound to happen sometime." Those phrases absolve the person from any responsibility for taking action and generating the success. Notice these phrases popping up in other people's language, and yours too. Then avoid using them ever again. It wasn't luck. It was you. To get your victories to occur more often, just as soon as you have a major success, visualize yourself having the same results again in many different contexts. When you've got that winning feeling, it's much easier to imagine yourself having the same feeling over and over again in the future. Visualizing the victories in different contexts will help you create the belief that success is part of who you are, not just an isolated incident that occurs from time to time. Here's how successful people view their mistakes. A mistake is simply a function of what you did, not a part of who you are. A mistake is something to learn from. A mistake lets you know that you should adjust your behavior. Here's how successful people view their successes. Success is a part of who you are. It happened because you are a successful person. Success is something to congratulate yourself on and celebrate. Success can be built on to reach even greater heights in the future. The confidence you are rapidly developing can take the form of a snowball. At first, you pack the smallest bit of snow in your hands and make it as dense as possible so that it sticks together. Then you place the small snowball at the top of a great big hill. As you roll the snowball downhill, the snowball gathers more and more snow and gains momentum. Pretty soon the snowball is unstoppable and it keeps getting bigger, acquiring more snow at a faster rate. That's how your confidence is growing now. You're packing your small snowball, and the techniques in this book are pushing that snowball down the hill. With this snowball racing down the hill, you are stepping further and further outside your original comfort zone. You'll be amazed, surprised, and delighted to find how much you enjoy this wonderful personal growth. Once you adopt the belief that mistakes are your gateway to learning and a natural part of the process, your confidence will immediately begin snowballing faster. What makes the difference between successful, confident people and those who are tentative and do not pursue their dreams is the way they view their mistakes. If you want to do something well, it's worth doing poorly at first. That is why taking action is almost always better than not taking action. In taking action, you will either get your outcome or at least learn something so that you can do things better the next time. If you fail to take action out of fear, you will learn nothing and stay stuck in the same place you were. The confident mindset allows you to make as many mistakes as you need to as fast as you possibly can. The key here is to correct what you're doing based on the feedback you get regarding each mistake. By constantly correcting, eventually you will get your desired outcome. After you do succeed, you will learn to integrate that success into your identity as a person of unstoppable confidence. The tentative mindset holds that mistakes are bad and should be avoided. As you become more confident in yourself, you'll naturally find how ineffective the tentative mindset is in terms of going after your dreams. Mistakes are really only a measure of one specific instance of your behavior. They are not personal evaluations of your worth as an individual. Avoid taking mistakes personally. Instead, learn from them and move on. Failure from an unstoppably confident perspective. Confident people are confident because they know that they can achieve anything they want. How do they know this? Because they have a history of persisting until they succeed, until they win, until they get what they want. They may experience temporary setbacks from time to time, but they always learn something from these and do things differently until they finally achieve their goals. So how do they do this? Well, I'm reminded of a story that you may have already heard. A group of frogs on a farm came across a bucket of milk that the farmer had accidentally left behind. They dared each other to jump over the bucket, and they did over and over until one frog misjudged his jump and fell into the milk. He tried to scramble out of the bucket, but the sides were too slick and he fell back in. He could hear the other frogs laughing at him outside. Not only was he in danger of drowning, but the other frogs that he thought were his friends were laughing about it. He was determined to get out, so he swam and jumped and flailed about, and the more he tried, the more they laughed at him. As he kept it up, all his motions ended up churning the milk until it became butter. When the butter was thick enough, the frog had enough leverage to jump out and escape. What does this teach us? If you want something badly enough, you will achieve it. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, even if those whom you thought were your friends tell you otherwise, always know that you can. Refrain from asking yourself questions like, "Is it possible?" or "Can I do this?" You already know you can do it. Presuppose it as a given. You can accomplish whatever you set your mind to accomplish. With the inevitability of achieving your goal already firmly established, ask yourself, what is it going to take to accomplish my goal? This question assumes that the possibility of success is already a definite in your mind, and now the only thing to determine is how, specifically, you will get there. Chapter 9. Act as if. Quality questions create a quality life. Successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. Anthony Robbins. So now you may be wondering how to get unstoppable confidence. We've talked about what confidence is and what it isn't, as well as about aspects of your language and belief systems that need changing. But how exactly do you get there? Parts 3 and 4 give you techniques and exercises to help you change your language and change yourself. To get you started, here's the first step to set you on your journey to unstoppable confidence. Acting as if, an NLP essential. If you act as if something is real for long enough, you will eventually forget that you are only pretending, and however you are acting will become your habit. This is one of the keys to neuro-linguistic programming. People who used to be shy have used this as-if frame of mind to develop their confidence. The difference between people who are confident and those who are shy are their habits. Habits can either be good or bad. The secret is to have a wealth of good habits. The more empowering habits you have, the better your life will be. Developing these habits of behaving confidently can be enjoyable too. It's exciting to witness your personal transformation as you gain more confidence in yourself. The pretend it and have it technique. The mind and body are part of a cybernetic system. This means that the body influences the mind and the mind influences the body. You can pretend to have confidence by reliving confident experiences in your mind, which will get your body to adopt confident physiology. Or if you choose to adopt confident physiology, your mind will adjust what you are seeing, hearing, and feeling internally to experience confidence. We can use this to our advantage. Getting confidence is no different from pretending to have confidence. Keep doing it for long enough, and pretty soon you'll forget that you're pretending. By the time you've done that, confidence will have become a habit. Following that, your confidence gets ingrained into your personality, and it becomes part of your identity. Remember times as a child when you played make-believe? Children have excellent imaginations and are very good at playing, and consequently, learning. Play make-believe now and pretend that you have confidence before you really do have it. Questions about confidence. Imagine what it would be like to be 10 times more confident than you are now, and answer the following questions. How would you be moving differently? How would your body posture be different? How would your inner voice be different? How would you be speaking to others? What is going through your mind? How does your body feel? Where in your body do you feel that confidence first? How could you intensify that confident feeling in your body? By answering these questions and doing what they invite you to do, you will see your unstoppable confidence soar. When your confidence soars, forget that you're pretending and take action to do whatever you need to get done. When I was learning how to walk up to strangers and begin talking, I would ask myself these questions one by one. With each question I answered, I adjusted my behavior to pretend as if I already had the confidence I was seeking. And after answering all the questions, I could actually feel unstoppable confidence within me. This propelled me to introduce myself to strangers and begin talking with them. The reverse of this technique is also true, so be forewarned about that. If you think about shyness and adopt shy body language, your mind and body will make you feel shy. If you catch yourself doing this, acknowledge it and then begin asking yourself the confidence questions, which are designed to get you into a super confident state. Now, work your way through the techniques and strategies in parts 3 and 4. Before long, you won't be acting unstoppably confident. You'll be unstoppably confident. Part 3. The Language of Unstoppable Confidence. Chapter 10. Mastering Your Internal Voice. Make a game of finding something positive in every situation. 95% of your emotions are determined by how you interpret events to yourself. Brian Tracy. Imagine a private radio station in your mind that broadcasts just for you. If the DJ put on a record that played a whining, droning voice, constantly cataloging your failures and griping about how hard life is, you'd feel pretty bad, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to turn it down or fire the DJ? Conversely, what if you could listen to a rich, warm voice reminding you about all the great accomplishments of your life, the things that make you happy and thankful, the goals and dreams that you have? Wouldn't that feel just great? Wouldn't you want to listen to it a lot, with the volume high enough that you feel it vibrate throughout your body? That is exactly what we are going to do in this chapter. By mastering some basic NLP techniques, you are going to learn to use your internal voice to positively change your state of mind and direct your thoughts in resourceful ways, no matter how you may have been using your voice in the past. You will master your internal voice so that your state of mind becomes and stays absolutely fabulous. Squashing negative internal dialogue. Many people have a negative internal voice that constantly eats away at them. This negative internal dialogue often dwells on the bad things in life and is quick with a put down or some other nasty comment. Consequently, it's difficult for people to move ahead if they don't first conquer their negative internal voice. This kind of inner monologue can cause a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. If you let it rule your mind, it will also rule your world. What occurs far too frequently is that the negative internal dialogue discourages someone from doing something bold and constructive. Then, if this person attempts to take the initiative and fails, the internal voice rubs it in. This further drives home the false belief that the person cannot do whatever he or she sets out to do. The negative internal voice then becomes more powerful because it was right before, and it incapacitates the person again the next time he or she dares to step outside of the comfort zone. This cycle must be stopped. Considering all of this, how would you like to silence this negative internal voice once and for all? First, identify the qualities of your negative internal monologue by answering the questions listed here. When you are aware of the specific qualities of your negative internal voice, you can more easily silence it. Whose voice do you hear? Where does the voice seem to come from? At what level is the volume of the voice? Does the voice speak rapidly or slowly? Now that you are more consciously aware of the voice than ever before, we can squash it. To do this, you must actively choose to change the qualities of your internal voice. You can do this by imagining the same voice with its vocal properties altered. Sometimes the negative internal voice is that of one or both of your parents. Sometimes the negative internal voice is your own. What would happen if you took the voice and made it sound like, say, Mickey Mouse's voice? It would be hard to take that high-pitched voice seriously, right? What would happen if you made it another favorite childhood cartoon character's voice, or perhaps a clown's voice? Don't take my word for it. Do it yourself to find out. The next time you recognize a negative internal voice, Mentally repeat what it just said in the voice of Bozo the Clown. You might be surprised to discover how quickly the internal voice that used to keep you stuck becomes meaningless when it sounds like this. What happens if you change where the negative internal voice comes from? Put the voice in different locations and farther away to lessen its impact. Picture a voice coming out of your kneecap, softly taunting you about your shortcomings. Notice how this changes things. What happens when you speed the voice up so very fast that it's almost incomprehensible, like a record turned up to 180 RPM? What happens when you slow down the voice so much that it's deep and distorted? You can adjust the internal voice as though it has a volume dial, turning the volume up or down to suit the situation. Most likely, the quieter the voice, the less influence it will have. Find what works best for you and use it to thwart the impact of that pesky, negative internal voice. The underlying foundation of this technique is the idea that you can consciously direct your mind instead of just allowing it to function on impulse. With the techniques I've outlined, you will be consciously directing how you hear your internal voice. I bet you're feeling better about having more control over your negative internal voice, and that voice is having less and less of an impact on you. Amplifying positive internal dialogue. As inhibiting as a negative internal voice is, a positive internal voice can be twice as effective in leading you to greatness. Everything that we did in the last section to de-emphasize the negative internal monologue, we'll now learn to do in reverse, to amplify the positive internal monologue. When you hear positive, encouraging words inside your mind, take a moment and silently thank yourself. Eventually, you won't feel the need to do so, but when you first feel the confidence of a positive interior voice, congratulations are in order. As your internal voice bursts forth with positive words, reinforce them with appropriate behaviors. The more you reward yourself for acting in the way you want, the more you will find yourself automatically acting in the way you want. You won't even have to make it a point to do so. It will simply become a reflex. Your ideal internal dialogue should be in your own voice. The reason for this is that you and you alone run your life and make the decisions. If the internal dialogue has the voice of anyone other than you, you are effectively relinquishing your personal power to that person. Since you are the one running your mind and your life, reclaim them both by making the internal dialogue yours alone forever. Simply replace the current voice of authority in your life with your own voice. Let your own positive voice resonate within. Allow it to spread through your whole body. Whenever you hear that glowing, positive internal voice, let it boom from within you like it's coming from the largest speakers you've ever heard at the loudest volume imaginable. The louder the volume, the more vividly the feeling will course throughout your entire being. So when you want to really feel it, crank up the volume. While your positive internal voice shows up more and more often, sometimes it will give you a positive statement disguised in question form. An example is, "You can do it?" The tone may be questioning, yet deep down, this sentence is a statement. Ratchet up the power of your internal voice by turning the sentence into a statement. You can do it. Repeat it in your mind a few times if you need to. Next, make your internal voice even stronger by converting the statement into an exclamation. You can do it! Shout this inside your mind so there can be no doubt. Find your passion. Your confidence will grow with each and every technique that you add to your repertoire. The more your confidence grows, the more you will discover how much you want to reconnect with your passions and go after your dreams. In doing this, ask yourself, if money were no object and you knew you could not fail, what would you do in your life? The immediate answer to this question is your passion and what you should do with your life. Using the techniques you're learning in this book, stamp out the negative internal voice that might try in vain to crop up. Find your passion, set your goals, and then take immediate, repeated, massive action that will virtually guarantee your success. Commit to yourself that you will never quit. Remind yourself that you have quit quitting, and move ahead into the life you want and deserve to have now.